En junkerred ved juletid.
Ching chang ching nu til dig.
Omkring ham dalede sneen hvid.
Ching chang ching nu til dig.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. This is the TOTES, the topic of the episode show for this week. And this week we're going to be talking about our favorite boss fights. There are so many, I mean, basically pretty much every game except for like puzzle-y type games.
Sure.
The vast majority of games have boss fights. Yeah. And so there's going to be some that stick out in your mind as being extra special.
Yeah. I think boss fights are a great way to break up the monotony of like the normal RPGs or fighters or anything. Beat 'em ups. Not really fighters.
Yeah.
But ways to break that up or challenge you and make the boss more powerful than you and make you have to overcome this huge adversity. And I think it can be a really unique way to tell a story. It can be a unique way to give you some visuals or experience that you couldn't have gotten elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I want to kick it off by talking about Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, let's do that.
Shadow of the Colossus is basically all boss battles.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. And I think the first boss battle in the game is great to show you how minuscule you are in comparison to everything in this world.
Yeah.
And it really sets the tone for the rest of the game. I mean, it's a very vanilla, ogre-y kind of thing that has a club, and you have to figure out.
But it's also got the sense of scale in that game, and like you said, it sets the tone for the rest of the game. And like whenever it walks, the ground shakes.
Yes.
And that is some intimidating stuff. And then we also had on Twitter we had Jake the Snake, who said that the last boss fight, because in Shadow of the Colossus as well, because like you've been building up, and the story has been building up to a point that the final boss fight has such an emotional resonance.
Yeah.
And what you were talking about earlier with the story and the way that boss fights can be used to communicate to the player something that's more than just, oh yeah, you beat the game. It's like you have accomplished this thing by taking on this boss that initially you didn't think you can beat.
Exactly.
Also, from our listeners, Christian Michael said that Father Gascoigne from Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Because and it's another example of a boss fight setting the tone for what we're going to be going through now, because the theme of Bloodborne is transformation and change and all this kind of stuff, and Gascoigne, for the first part of the fight, he is he's a powerful, but he is still a hunter.
Yeah.
And so when you first come into the fight, he's chopping up a body, and it's like, what's going on here? And then he turns around, and you can see that he is still human.
Yeah. And
then halfway through the fight, spoilers for, well, it could be an hour and a half, it could be 6 hours into your first play on Bloodborne, but yeah, second boss, and he turns into a monstrosity.
Yeah.
And the gravestones in that can be used to kind of distance yourself from Father Gascoigne, but after he transforms, they become obstacles to your movement.
Yes.
And the transformation of the battlefield by a shift in game mechanics is just an utterly remarkable thing. I'm going to go ahead and call out one from the original Demon's Souls.
Sure.
The second boss fight, which is the Tower Knight.
Yeah.
And because when you first come into that fight, like I did, you're going to see this, Colossus.
Tall,
it's basically the same as the Colossus. It's like, oh my goodness, that thing's huge, and you're thinking, well, there's no way I can kill this thing, and and right at the beginning, you just keep dying. You die and you die and you die, and then you're trying to figure out what's going on, and then you go off, fight some other bosses, and you come back. And then you realize to look around at your environment, and there's 6 archers up in the corners, and that's what's been killing you.
Yeah.
And you take out those archers, and then you have a platform from which to take out this boss.
Correct.
And
plunging attack, or if you do range attack, like you do sorcery kind of stuff, you could just do that.
Well, he also he has the tower shield, which is literally impenetrable. You can't break it.
Yep.
You can't do damage through it. None of that stuff. But once you've taken out the archers, you can get behind him and get at his heel.
Yeah.
And if you take out his heel, then he falls for a while. He's stunned for a little bit, and that tells you more than the boss fight alone does.
Correct. Yeah.
And I really appreciate the attention to detail when they do something different.
Yeah.
And they confound your initial expectations of what this boss fight was going to be.
Yeah, I think it does a great job. The first boss from Dark Souls is a good example of a teaching moment in a game. While it may not be on anybody's best of list, but a teaching moment in the game, like you mentioned, you're not supposed to be able to really beat him.
The Asylum Demon?
Yeah, the Asylum Demon. You
Okay.
can beat him.
Okay.
I mean, but at that point, if you've just arrived at him, you have a broken sword that does like 6 damage. You haven't gotten your actual equipment yet.
Right.
And what the game actually wants you to do to teach you is to go off to the side, get your sword, get your shield, and then come up and plunging attack. If you plunging attack, you get him at half health.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any achievement for getting him with on the first try, but now I'm thinking about it.
No.
Yeah, I have to look. But I think it's a great example of a teaching moment in a game that a lot of games don't have that.
Yeah.
But another great boss, in my opinion, was Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze from Arkham City. Yeah,
Yes.
that was a really fantastic fight.
Yeah, fun fight. Great character. Great voice acting by Maurice LaMarche. But a great fun fight that also again is a great example of like of that villain and like taking him to the next level.
Yeah, because in that fight, for those of you who haven't played it, you can only hit him in a particular way once. It's like a stealth mission. You need to pop out of the floor grates and punch him in the head, and then he'll be like, "Rah," and he freezes all the floor grates. So you can't attack him that way again. And you can electrify something behind him, and then you can jump in and punch him, and then he's like, "Smash this thing!" And so like, as you go through the fight, every hit, every bit of damage that you do on the boss is a unique thing that you haven't done before.
Yeah.
And that is a really fantastic,
which makes for a really cool like visual and a cool storytelling moment.
And it's a memorable boss fight. Briefly,
Yeah.
while in Arkham City,
Yeah.
the final boss of Clayface,
Yeah.
which that is kind of a spoiler. I'm sorry,
Sorry.
but like you fight the Joker, but it's actually Clayface masquerading as the Joker. Is a beautiful story moment.
Yeah.
I'm also going to give a shout out to in Mega Man X when you fight Vile the second time.
Okay.
Because at the very beginning of the game, in the intro stage, you go up and you have this boss fight that you can't win. And I don't know, maybe I just have a thing for not winning. but yeah, like that fight is initially meant to teach you and to show you can be more than you are now.
Yeah.
You're going to be more, and there's this impossible thing that you come back and you're like, yes, now I can do it.
Yeah. I love it. I also wanted to mention again another impossible thing where you're like, there's no way to do this is Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
Because Psycho Mantis knows what you're going to press.
Yep.
Psycho Mantis knows what game you played last.
You sure do like Castlevania.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's a great moment where it does break the fourth wall, but it's a great moment of this is impossible. How the heck do you do this?
Yeah.
And you just unplug your controller and put it in the second port.
Indeed.
It's a great moment though.
I'm also going to shout out to Mom in Binding of Isaac, because when you first start playing the game, Mom is the final boss.
Yeah.
And you go through 3 stages or 3 2-part stages, and you come up against Mom, and this is this big fight, and you have to use all that you've learned, and like you have to, there's rocks and obstacles in the way, and you have to fight regular monsters at the same time as you're doing damage to Mom and all this stuff, and you feel really happy when you beat it.
Yeah.
And later on, that's just a standard fight, and if you can't beat Mom, then you should probably just turn it off and go to bed because you're too tired to play. But yeah, like it's something that I really like it when boss fights start off initially looking intimidating or impossible.
Yeah.
And then as you grow, as you mature, improve as a player,
Yeah.
then you get better and you're able to do things that you didn't think you could do before.
That's true. Speaking of Binding of Isaac, as I was waiting in line to pre-order the Switch, one of the woman that was next to me in line, or in front of me in line, so she's a 51-year-old and she's getting a Switch for her son, and she homeschools him and she's really, really religious, and then they hand out the slips of paper, and she's reading them. She's like, I know what this. What is Binding of Isaac? And she looks at me because we've built a rapport at this point. We'd built a rapport over the past 45 minutes of
Oh my gosh.
So she looks at me, and I probably was silent for about a minute. I said, oh, it's a really weird game. And then I was silent for about a minute because I was trying to think, what do I say to this woman who is ultra religious, who's ultra protective of her 17-year-old son?
Which is why that game was made, because of moms like you.
Yes. So I'm sitting here thinking, I've already built a rapport with this woman, and she's already talked about, like, you know, Grand Theft Auto and this game being trash and this game being trash, and thinking no one should ever play these games. And the amount that she polices her son, and then Binding of Isaac comes up, and I'm like, and then I think I resulted it. I was like, it's a really weird game where you play this kid and you're using like poop and eyeballs, and she's like, ew, 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 and I was like, all right, cool, I'm done.
Now we don't have to talk about the religious iconography, which is the basis of the game, and that the God told mom to, yeah.
I was waiting to tell you that story because I was like,
yes.
It's just so awkward because she was looking at me, and there was a couple other people looking at me who were parents or people who didn't know the game.
Right.
But at that moment,
oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, it was perfect. So let us know in the comments what some of your favorite boss battles are.
King K. Rool. Consistently.
Yeah?
Yeah. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and the other games, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
my favorite one of the year has been Nier Automata.
Yeah.
That was a blast in the demo. So
that was a fun.
That's my favorite. So let us know what your favorites this year that you've played in boss battles, or last year, or your favorites, of all time. See you later.